Well, welcome back to Maples Pavilion, the place to be in prime time on a Friday night. Our first round action continues. Stanford and Norfolk State, champions of the MEAC against the Pac-12 in the 15 versus 2. And welcome back to the NCAA Women's Championship. It is presented by Capital One. And what a fantastic first game that we have already witnessed earlier tonight. Audie Crooks led the second largest comeback in NCAA tournament history with a 40-piece. The freshman getting it done in Iowa State. The 7th seed over Maryland. The 10th seed awaits the winner of this game right now between Stanford, the 2, Norfolk State, the MEAC champions, the 15 seed. Well, so glad you could join us. Lights are out again. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott. And we expect more fireworks tonight. We've got Norfolk State, MEAC champions. They've won 15 games in a row. We've got Stanford, that's one of the best players on the planet in Cameron Brink.
Yeah, this Norfolk State team is hyped to be here. They've been here now 2 times in a row. So it's a team that's going to be ready to come in here and fire it up. But you are facing the best shot blocker in the country in Cameron Brink. So they're going to have to hit some outside shots.
Yeah, 3.5 shot blocks per game. That leads America as we take a look at our most reliable player, brought to you by Xfinity. And it is Cam Brink. She is back. And she's probably the number 2 pick in the WNBA draft this summer.
And has just gotten so much better with a year of work. She's got range now. She can extend her shot outside, but it's her help side, defense, it's her energy, it's her passion, it's her fire. That's what makes the difference for this Stanford Cardinal team.
Take a look at our Capital One starting lineups. Diamond Johnson, the transfer from NC State, averages over 20 points per game. Kiara Wheeler was the MEAC Player of the Year. The Spartans can score, and for Stanford, it's not only Cam Brink, it's Kiki Iriafen, who also averages a double-double at 19 and 11 per game. And they've got a lot of veteran leadership in the backcourt as well that has been a difference maker for head coach Tara Vanderveer, Cam Brink, Iriafen, and this Stanford team. They are better connected. They feel like they're in a much better spot to advance here out of Maples as compared to what happened a year ago against Ole Miss. And one of the all-time great coaches in any sport at any level, Tara Vanderveer, leads her team in search of another national championship run. As we are set and ready to go, and Cam Brink taps it back to Talana Lopolo, and we are underway at Maples. Stanford in the white unis, Norfolk State playing the matchup zone in the green and gold. Open look down the corner. That's a 3. And Moscano connects right away.
With Stanford, you have an incredible passing team who is so disciplined, they're going to find the best shot. You'd expect them to go inside early on to Brink, but instead they go outside. Moscano.
There's Nia Fields with a path and the bounce pass off of Wheeler. Against the taller Brink, the pump fake up and under, no, and Brink clears. And that's the problem facing Cam Brink, with all that size and athleticism. Stolen away by Norfolk State. On the run is Williams.
Yeah, those kind of plays, they got to take advantage of those. So this is a team that is going to play with this type of energy as long as they have it. As Cam Brink comes up, she gets met at the rim.
Met at the rack, and Brink give it back to Norfolk State. As Bosgana picks up the foul, that's her first. Larry Vickers, 8 full seasons as the head coach at Norfolk State, and 2 straight MEAC Coach of the Year awards claimed by the former Spartan basketball player. And we talked to him yesterday, always entertaining to catch up with Coach Vickers. He said, I've got an emotional team this year. When they get emotional, I sit down to try to balance it out.
So when Coach is sitting down, it's getting tight out there. But what I love, too, about Larry Vickers and his story is he spent 8 seasons on the men's staff, coaching on the men's side as an assistant, and then took some signs of life to see what it was like over on the women's side. And he told us, you know what, I'm never going back.
Never going back. Never. Shot clock in 10. Another touch for Cam Brink and an easy layup.
Where you can get that type of spacing, and you got big guards. Bosgana at 6'2". But we saw that high-low action work really well for Iowa State. It's going to be the same for Stanford.
Cameron Brink, first-team AP All-American. Pac-12 Player of the Year, Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. She does it all, literally. Here's Mimi Wheeler inside. Norfolk State on the board.
Great job by Wheeler so far. Good defensive play. She was able to block a shot. for Cameron Brick. And with that score, did you see the way she sprinted back down? Made sure she was able to get in front of Kiki Iriafen, prevent that entry pass.
Tara Vanderveer, winningest coach in the history of college basketball. 15 Final Fours, 3 national championships. Most recent one coming in 2021. We talked to her yesterday. Always delightful, always engaging, and always adapting. Inside, the bucket's good for Iriafen.
Iriafen is probably the best player in the country you have not heard enough of. Kiki Iriafen, her outstanding, her improvement, I should say, over last year to this year. 11 points, 7 rebounds more. Just getting it done. Getting her name known, too, to those WNBA scouts.
Pass fake and a traveling violation from Wheeler. Gives it back to the Cardinal. Lead already at 5 for number 2 seed Stanford. Cardinal lost the USC in the Pac-12 championship game. Beat Cal and Oregon State on their run to the finals. Last year, of course, of the Pac-12. That's an ongoing story as Stanford begins its transition into the ACC later this summer.
A much different look for the ACC, as you factor in travel to that. I mean, the Big Ten has seen some of that, so now the Pac-12 will also, with the decisions they're making and the teams leaving there, that is a lot for student athletes to deal with.
Bria Clark picks up her first, and a first-team foul called against Norfolk State. I told you the Spartans have won 15 in a row. Back-to-back MEAC championships. Larry Vickers perhaps gave us the line of the weekend. He said, when Diamond Johnson transferred to us, that news was on the ticker on ESPN all day long. They took a lot of pride in that and getting her back closer to home. Cam Brink on the offensive glass. Too strong that time. Norfolk State controls, and that's Fields.
Yeah, the biggest get for this Hornets team was getting Diamond Johnson. And Fletcher just showing her strength early on, or Wheeler, I should say, excuse me. But Johnson, 5'5". She's got the strength, the quickness, maybe not the height. She can ball.
Brink off the back iron. Iriafen the rebound, and she was fouled. Well, Diamond Johnson, the MEAC newcomer of the year. We mentioned her start of her career at NC State. Built a close relationship with this coaching staff going back to her high school days, before she was being recruited as COVID set in 2020, and started her career at the very beginning at Rutgers, and she just picked up her first personal foul. There's a quiet confidence about 3 in green and gold. There's a play yesterday at practice where she literally bowled over a player trying to get to the rim about, 7 or 8 inches taller than her. And it was the player that stayed on the floor, and Johnson was fine. And Larry Vickers looked at us, and he said, that happens every day in practice. And on cue, the mid-range is there. He called her our linebacker.
Well, that was a great steal, but an even better hezzy with the finish. Diamond Johnson just showing you what she's got available in her bag. That one, Norfolk State. Wheeler. She has head up. Transition defense. Oh, a little hezzy. Let me get you with the runner as well. Well, you talk about just the confidence that she has. Junior from Philadelphia. Well, we know how important basketball is to that area. And Dawn Staley, one of her true icons and someone she's looked up to.
Why isn't Iriafen getting more notoriety nationally? Is it just because of Cam Brink?
That's a great question. I think, hey, you and I are here. We can give her some notoriety tonight. She comes through. But, that's what Larry Vickers said. He said, look, she's the best player you've not heard of yet. Or enough of, I should say. But, yeah, Kiki Iriafen doing incredible numbers this year.
Most improved player in the Pac-12. Johnson, a deep 3. And Clark, she last touched it out of bounds. It goes back to Stanford. Cardinal lead at 8-4. Maybe the easiest question I will ever ask you. How important is it for Norfolk State to be the hang-around team early in a game like this?
Well, what they want to do and how they can do that is this extended pressure with zone defense, right? If you want to make Stanford try to beat you, try to go outside. As Cameron Brink was ready for that 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Quick hands from Lopolo.
Second foul called on Clark. And she'll have to go to the bench for head coach Larry Vickers. And coming in for the first time, Anjanae Richardson.
But that's what can get the Hornets into trouble, is if they get into foul trouble now. You want to play aggressive, but you have to find that sweet spot.
Brink inside. And Brink connects.
Well, what do you do in that situation? Not much.
Johnson somehow getting it to go. And around Brink, no problem. Nearly comes up with a steal.
Excuse me, the Hornets need to get back into defensive alignment here. The Spartans, excuse me. So I've seen green. I'm going for the Beehive. Cameron Brink losing control of that basketball underneath the rim. I think she gets a chance to come here with the block. Defensive play. You know, you're seeing Stanford kind of go at a pace where it's methodical, but you're kind of waiting for things to open up. And I think a big defensive play from Brink or an and one from Erioffen will blow this place open.
And Brink. 3-second violation called on Erioffen. It'll be Norfolk State basketball when we come back, and the Spartans making history. Talking about multiple championships, getting it done with this win streak. We come back to Maples. Welcome back to Maples Pavilion. Fueling the run presented by Wendy's. How about 15 victories in a row for Norfolk State? The Spartans led by Diamond Johnson. Back-to-back tournament championships coming out of the MEAC. They are for real, and they're here at Maples tonight to prove a point. And so far, 10-6 ball game. Those 27 wins, school record, 15 straight leading into the NCAA tournament. An incredible run for the head coach now in his 9th year, his 8th full season in Norfolk, Virginia.
You got some transfers from power conferences in Diamond, Johnson, Fields, Wheeler. And the way that this team has defended, that's what's gotten them to this place today. They forced 21 turnovers. They only commit 13.
4 tonight for us already.
But already 4 tonight, of course, against a team that knows how to defend pretty well in Stanford.
Norfolk State 3rd in the country in scoring defense.
Lopolo staying with Johnson.
Too strong for Wheeler. A rebound by Hannah Jump, one of the co-captains for head coach Tara Vanderveer. Iowa State awaits the winner of this 2 versus 15 matchup. Mitri, Erioffen doesn't get the bounce, and the rebound skied for and claimed by Richardson. So Debria Clark on the bench with 2 fouls. Richardson checks in and has done a nice job.
And what the Spartans wanted to do coming into this game was execute their ball screen offense to try to score early on. And you got to get creative with shots because Stanford's not going to give you a lot of looks. And I love the way Anjanae Richardson, she got one off. Diamond Johnson got a good looking shot off. Difficulty high.
Richardson averaging 7 points per game coming off the bench this year against the zone. Stanford goes inside out. And another 3, but this one is good from Jump.
Not a lot of dribbles, but a lot of passing and movement. That's what the Cardinal wants to see. And Hannah Jump, well, she's a player that I just think can really pop off in this tournament, coming into today with over 300 career threes.
That's a lot of outside shooting.
It is.
Great cut inside to Fields.
That's where that confidence is coming in. You know, their speed and athleticism, they're going to do what they can, but Kiki Erioffen's going to match you and raise you up one level. Her ability to get to that block so quickly, that could be challenging tonight.
The size advantage for Stanford is significant. Erioffen, Cam Brink, averaging over 6'4" there. Just those 2 players. Johnson hesitation, hung in the air, and then was too strong. Erioffen, spin, too strong. And a jump ball. Arrow favors Norfolk State. The Spartans will get it back. All smiles for Erioffen.
Yeah, she's a player who just has so much fun out there. The joy on the floor, and that's just going to be contagious to the rest of our teammates.
And it's something that's different than what we saw last year as Cam Brink is back on the floor. Pac-12 Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, First Team All-American, as designated by the AP this weekend. But last year we were here. Ole Miss pulled off the upset in round 2. I don't think that team was as well connected as this one is. And I think that was a motivating factor for for Tara Vanderveer in the middle of the offseason to make sure, a leadership perspective, everybody was on the same page, having more fun, communicating more. Feels like that's resonated with this team this year.
Yeah, I would agree, no doubt. It's a different vibe here at Stanford as well. And, of course, bringing back different staff. And Tevye Brown back on the staff as an assistant coach for Tara Vanderveer. And, this team, they got beat by an Ole Miss team that came in and played more physical basketball than they were ready to handle. So Ole Miss earned that win and then some to knock them off as a number 1 seed.
Entry shot out of bounds. Even Cam Brink talked about that with us yesterday when we had her and Coach Vanderveer kind of communicating with everybody at the same time. And I looked at Cam and I said, what can you tell me about Coach that nobody knows? And she goes, it's her ability to adapt and adapt with the times. And she did that going back to the end of last year compared to this year. And we said, how? And she said, leadership and doing all the things that we just discussed. And it's made a difference, and we will see if it makes a difference in terms of a deeper run.
In 1985, when Tara Vanderveer took over this Stanford program, they were 1-7 in the Pac West. 2 years later, she gets them to a Sweet 16. By 1990, a Final Four. And the championships have just continued on. This is a 1,214 game winning coach, the most in Division I.
Most in college basketball history. Surpassing Coach K earlier this year. Diamond Johnson found a crease and a bucket. Well, she gives the Spartans a different dynamic maybe than what was missing in years past for previous MEAC champions. That is scoring, it's confidence, it's the ability to make clutch shots when the Spartans need it the most. And here's another steal.
The way that Norfolk State can stay in this game, their confidence is just defense, period. Then you get the ball in the hands of a player like Diamond Johnson, who's ready to go up against anybody at 5'5".
Fields got tied up. It goes back to Stanford on the possession arrow. Get buckets. That's what 3 in green and gold likes to do.
I like it. 3 in green. Get those buckets. Diamond Johnson coming off the screen. Doesn't take it. Hezzy again. And she's got that quick release, right? And just being so compact in her game, you have to use your advantage of being quick and just trying to get a little separation of space.
Bumped by Dimitri. Williams able to stay balanced. Shot clock is off. 1 possession game here at the end of the first quarter. Larry Vickers in a defensive stance, the head coach for Norfolk State. Barney checks in and stolen away. Spartans have it. Johnson's got to go. Half-court heave. Barely drilled it. Stanford did not score in the final 2 minutes and 42 seconds of the first quarter. Larry Vickers looking at this veteran officiating crew asking for some more calls, but his team still in 1 quarter in. Ten minutes in, a 3-point game. Back here at Maples, Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott, the 2-seed Stanford leading the 15-seed Norfolk State. Head coach of the Spartans is one Larry Vickers, a former forward for Norfolk State back in the day. His career winding down in 2008. Really, if you look at it, he's a lifer for the Spartans program. First as a men's assistant coach after his time as a player, and then now as the women's head coach. His 8th full season, 9 overall on that side of it. And you said it best, Brooke. We talked to him about it yesterday. He says, I'm never going back, and I really think he loves how this program has been constructed, especially when you won back-to-back conference titles.
Yeah, I mean, look, we get it. The game is growing. It's exciting. We're just seeing new heights. And I love how he told us the story of when he took the team over. He said, I don't know. Are they going to take the game seriously? So he takes them to Top Golf, and he says, you know what they did? They just wanted to watch hoops the whole time. So it was right then and there. He knew he had some ballers on the squad.
Williams off the mark. Stanford gets it back. Mentioned the Cardinal upset loss at home to Ole Miss in the second round last year. Rebels advance to the Sweet 16. Norfolk State would love to pull off a massive upset. Ensuing campaign, it'll stay with the Cardinal. Cam Brink to Lopolo. Norfolk State has sat back in that matchup zone the majority of the first quarter. Brink's left wide open, the easy two.
I was just wondering when she's going to start getting some more consistent passes and shots. She's taking about 5 or 6 field goal attempts. Erie often about the same. So I'm good if I'm Stanford. I want to continue to feed my bigs until a 3-point shot opens up.
Brink's got 6 and 4. Johnson, the pump fake. Brink, I think that 5 rebounds for 22.
I love 5'5" going up.
Fearless.
Cameron Brink 6'4", almost giving up a foot. Diamond Johnson says, so what?
And a foul inside that goes against Paris Mullins-Herpers. Cameron Brink, she had the flu last year at the start of the NCAA tournament. That was also a factor in what transpired, not this season.
Right, we didn't get to see her in the first round matchup, but these two 4-4 to deuce. You've seen that connection quite a few times.
Only player in Division I. Those numbers, 3.5 blocks per game, that leads the country in terms of average and total rejections this year. Off the inbounds, Brink, outside to Ogden, who just checked in. And a deep 3 by Hannah Chope is all net.
Perfectly executed, right? You go inside, you're often getting double team. Where do you look? You look cross court, Oppo in the wing, and jump right there. That's got to be her spot. She looks so comfortable.
Her second triple, 36% from deep this year. Plenty of time on the shot clock now at 10. Clark back on the floor with the 2 fouls. Wheeler, the mid-range. Brink may have bothered that one at the last minute.
Brink bothers him on every minute. She's out there on the floor. She's a bother.
Against the zone, Ariappin. Strong.
I mean, powerful, quick. You can understand why her point production has gone up. The amount of time she spent in the gym, her confidence level is there. And she's just able to finish so much more smoothly than I remember seeing her in these last few years.
Lead up to 10. Norfolk State's yet to score so far in the second quarter. Brink a block and a rebound. Ogden inside, Ariappin. And Larry Vickers has seen it up. Spartans call a timeout. And the lead swells to 12.
This 9-0 run led by the bigs. Cameron Brink, Kiki Ariappin. Your 2 absolute studs inside. Look at that position Ariappin gets. You can't take that away from her. She says, oh yeah.
Janae, Nikki, Kelsey going to be with you coming up at the half. Dove in the studio as she shows it off. Meanwhile, LSU showed off a little bit earlier today. Virginia Tech survived without Liz Kitley, and Stanford came out and decided the second quarter was there. See, I like having Stanford right over my shoulder, right where it needs to be. Cam and Kiki already combining for 15 points and 12 rebounds. Like, Hannah Jump is knocking down the threes to open up the paint for them. Look at well. He's got 6 as well. Cam's got 6. I won't talk about the fact that you're wearing green because you like the neutral right now, but right now, I'll send it back to you for us.
Ouch.
Kelsey, thank you very much. 24-12. Brooke Westbrook, Roy Philpotts here in Maples Pavilion. Everybody having a good time as March Madness ensues. Diamond Johnson off the mark out of the timeout. So far, a 9-0 run for Stanford to start this second quarter.
They talk about Stanford right over her shoulder. Cameron Brink is right over everyone's shoulder. I mean, just the way that she's communicating out there, too. A lot of talking, just constant head on a swivel.
And a jump. Left-handed delivery. Rebound caroms to Diamond Johnson. Junior from Philadelphia. First meeting between these two programs, MEAC champions. Stanford, we mentioned, came up just short in the Pac-12 title game. And Wheeler, a nice move, the block by Brink in the last minute, 5 to shoot. Johnson outside and tipped to Ogden. And the defense outstanding on that possession.
Yeah, I actually watched Cameron Brink off of the ball. Just watched how she was able to move, and it was a quick first step to get over there and get a piece of that basketball.
8 points, 8 rebounds already for the AP All-American.
Oh, she's going to be fun to watch at the next level, too. I mean, the more that she understands, studies the game. I thought Larry Vickers, head coach at Norfolk State, gave her a great compliment that, and she's got that WNBA swag about her. Like, she knows how to position herself and try to get some calls going. Like, she's got that confidence about her of a pro.
Now for tonight's Need to Know, brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Cameron Brink, Kiki Iriafen. You look at the numbers, I mean, combining for nearly 37 points and 23 rebounds. And you mentioned the blocks. Rim protection is there. Look, it's one of the reasons many people think Stanford can advance to the Final Four in Cleveland.
Yeah, I just think when you have solid bigs with experience and the way that these two are playing, you know, especially like they're going to remember last year. They're going to remember losing here on their home floor to Ole Miss in the second round. And that stings. And if that's not motivation to get you back at the gym over the summer, I don't know what is.
Brink and Iriafen, one of two duos. Average a double-double. The other, Lisa Morrow, Angel Reese at LSU. That was a competitive game for a half down in Baton Rouge today with Rice, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rice gave him a little bit of a scare. Of course, we already talked about some upsets. The Alabama-Florida State game was outstanding as well. We saw a great one here. Iowa State coming back 20 down against Maryland.
I mean, it's a game of the day as far as we're concerned, right? Now that we're biased.
Maybe you're biased.
Wheeler stumped again and again.
She just playing with him at times. Just playing. Flipping the braids back on the way down.
Only point of the second quarter so far for the Spartans, coming off the Johnson free throw moments ago. Iriafen saved it to jump. Lapolo from downtown. And Brink tracks down the rebound in front of Fields. A wide open three. Iriafen called for the foul. That's her first. Stanford doubling up Norfolk State. Halfway home in our second quarter. Welcome back to Maples Pavilion. 26-13. Stanford, the 2 seed, leading Norfolk State. The 15th seed, Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott. A 4-pack of games tomorrow. 2 on ABC, 2 on ESPN. And the stars will be shining brightly. Paige Beckers, UConn. Anna Hidalgo, Notre Dame. Caitlin Clark, need we say more? And Juju Watkins. If you don't know, do the Google. Find out, and you'll find out more tomorrow. USC and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I mean, these are the faces, the names you need to watch and understand. And Caitlin Clark, what she set the world on fire this year. The scoring, the dime dropping, she led the country in both categories. Can't wait to see what it looks like in postseason play.
I mean, just for her to take the floor, to have the composure that she still has after being on, we talk about the bright stage of this NCAA tournament. I mean, you could walk up and down any street and mention the name Caitlin Clark, and 9.9 out of people out of 10 are going to know who she is. I mean, she has just got more eyeballs on the game and has grown it and has done it with so much humility and teamwork. I love the way that she's approached her fame and how she's handled it.
Inside a foul call, and Brink picks up the personal. Free throws coming for Norfolk State. So Cameron Brink now with 2 fouls, both coming in the last 2 minutes. And free throws. Anjanae Richardson back to the line. 4 blocks already tonight for Cameron Brink. Anjanae with 4 starts this season, 67% free throw shooter.
Yeah, you and I have been present for some performances here in the NCAA tournament. We saw Audie drop 40 today, Audie Crooks from Iowa State. We saw Olivia Miles put together triple-double.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yep, against UMass. And I have a feeling we might see a triple-double from Cameron Brink tonight. I'm feeling blocks, boards, and points from Miss Brink.
Could be a possibility. Well, we have seen some incredible performances. Audie Crooks earlier was amazing. She took 20 shots. She missed 2. If you missed the game, and we told her that in our post-game interview, and she looked at me and she was like, wow. 18 of 20 from the floor. Every time she got it, she's in the building, checking all the social media mentions right now. It was going up and it was going in. Diamond Johnson just picked up her second. Very often at the stripe, 75% free throw shooter. McDonald's All-American, the most improved player in the Pac-12 this season, averaging a double-double, and yet perhaps kind of behind the spotlight of one Cam Brink. And she'll kiss away the second free throw. And having a little fun with the Norfolk State band, I believe. 28-13, Stanford season control. And Diamond Johnson thought about the backdoor cut.
Gotta go.
Fields bounced it out.
You can't halfway go. If you're going to go backdoor, you have to go, because that's where turnovers and miscommunication. We talked about the bounce back between mistakes and then making up for it. So let's see, kind of as the game goes on, how much more can the Spartans give away without bouncing back?
Very often. Step back 16-footer. Box out was there. Norfolk State has it. Fields inside to Wheeler. Williams battling for the loose ball. Norfolk State maintains possession. And a foul call on Bozgana. That's her second. Helena, stay on the floor for a moment and let's see. Here comes Harriel. Bozgana will check out, a high five and a conversation with Tara Vanderveer. We asked Coach, what was it like when you broke the record? One of the words that she used was overwhelming, just with the number of texts, emails, phone calls she received. She became the all-time winningest coach in college basketball history. But an incredible show of support, really, from everyone associated in sport at the time. Maybe the best story we were told, the next night out at dinner, a local steakhouse, Christian McCaffrey was also in the building. He made it a point to come over and introduce himself to Coach Vanderveer. Tara's like, hey, I know who you are. You don't have to tell me you're Christian McCaffrey. Turn around, Arioffen, Johnson the rebound. Here comes Norfolk State. And Wheeler down low in front of Arioffen connects.
Well, this is the time for the Spartans to make their move with Cameron Brink on the bench. You know, what can they do to speed this game up? Just try to get some transition buckets. But it's got to start with stops on this defensive end.
First field goal made in the quarter by the Spartans on that last bucket. There's 3 points so far in the second. Trailing by 13, the shot clock at 5. Demetrius tried to split the double team, and she traveled in the process. So here's the picture. The night after breaking the record, becoming the all-time winningest coach in basketball history, Coach Vanderveer has on her special coat that was developed by Nike, and you see all the slots there representing all the wins for all of those seasons. It's a coach she absolutely loves, and it was specially designed for her in that moment.
It's a great creative way to celebrate a lot of dubs. Got to give you credit, Nike. That's the one way to do it. Well, they've come through only honoring Coach Vanderveer with her wins. You know, the billboards of what we've seen with Caitlin Clark and the creativity in Iowa that they've done. You know, just shout out to women's basketball having an incredible moment, and Tara Vanderveer, who's just a legend, an icon. When we talk about humble, I mean, she is the first one to tell you talk about her players. When you talk about wins, the national championships, the 3 that are here, all those Final Four appearances.
After breaking the record, on game day, she was scheduled to play her normal bridge game with her mother afterwards. Yep. And was somewhat disappointed when she had to actually not do that right away and then go handle all the media obligations, you know, from the 1,000 people that wanted to interview her. But you mentioned how humble she is. That's a big component of it. The block, not the second time around. Dimitri got it the first time. And Richardson connects on the secondary attempt, and the lead down to 11.
Yeah, and a little shoulder shrug after she went back up. Just reminding you, I might be 5'8", but I still got it.
Johnson, the rebound off the miss by Harriel. Here comes the Spartans. And Johnson traveled, shifted that pivot foot.
Now, we knew this team had a lot of personality coming into this tournament. You don't try once, go again. That's being resilient. Richardson. Flex. That's right. Hit the jump.
I mean, that's 5'8" against 6'3", and she found a way to get it done. That'd be flexing, too.
You know, Well, shorties out here, we can get a shot off like that. Yeah, it feels pretty good.
Preaching to the choir. Arioffen double team and reverses there for 44 and white.
What I like about Arioffen, immediately after she makes a bucket, she is looking for her teammate who passed her the basketball.
Arioffen with 13. Under a minute to go in the half. Norfolk State has held its own for the most part. Needs to close the second quarter in strong fashion with Brink on the bench. And Wheeler. See if Stanford tries to go 2 for 1. Apollo, that's a 3. Johnson another board. Well, Diamond Johnson with 7 points and 4 rebounds. 4-second differential between the clocks. Johnson, the hesitation, off glass, she found a way.
Underhanded is the only way you're going to get that shot off without getting it blocked, and she found the room.
Great finish for Arioffen. Kiki showing you she's number 1, her team off and running. And its first game in the NCAA tournament in 2024.
Plays under review to see if the shot was made before 000.
Julie Proman-Hope forming us. Won't go anywhere just yet.
After review, the basket counts.
And a quick review indicates the basket is good. It felt like it was good in real time. Just for verification, yes. 32-19 our score. Let's get you to Shanae, Coach Vargas, Kelsey Riggs. Ladies, take it away.
Welcome to Dove in the studio. As you heard Roy say, Shanae McKay, Nikki Vargas, Kelsey Riggs hanging out with you in the studio. And we are still rolling here with all of the March Madness. It's Stanford that's rolling so far in this first half, 32-19. Kiki Arioffen, of course, that bucket counted at the end because she's pretty much knocking down everything, 15-7.
Look, if there were a most improved award that everyone should recognize, it absolutely goes to Kiki Arioffen. And I'm not saying that because she's a Stanford Cardinal. I'm just saying that for the improvements she's made from year to year. And then also Cameron Brink, when you have those two inside that just demand the ball, they're huge targets, they finish so well, they're a problem. But, you know, respect, because this is way closer. I think, you know, Stanford has to find a way to get the perimeter game going because we know we can bank on the team.
Yeah, and Hannah Jump needs to get more touches. I think she's a player that you can run some play action to. Because of her efficiency from the three-point line. But give Norfolk State a lot of credit for staying in this game. They're fighting extremely hard. Johnson is doing all that she can with 9 points. But again, Stanford inside play is just so tremendous right now.
They have had the opportunity, Norfolk State, to get it down close a couple of times.
I will always do that as long as
And then go ahead and just go like this with your green that you're wearing today, too, as they play Norfolk State. Anyways, as for who the winner of this game plays, well, it would be a battle between Iowa State and Maryland earlier tonight. And when you say battle, man, how about what we saw from Allie Kubek? She was phenomenal. But then the comeback really starts from Iowa State, Nikki.
Well, Iowa State got into the groove here, and they started to look and find the hot hand from the perimeter. But more importantly, the paint points that they were able to establish. How many points? Come on,
40 points on 90%
tonight.
shooting from the field, first ever game in that way.
How impressive is that, and how impressive was the freshman, Adi Turnos? On, you take a look at what she was able to do tonight. Became the first player, y'all, in NCAA tournament history with 40 points and 90% in a game. She was cooking out there. 40 points also tied Brittany Brennan for the most by a Big 12 player in an NC tournament game all time. How about Middle Tennessee and State and Louisville? Savannah Wheeler, she had 22 points, and it's this team right back in at 48 apiece. Give them the lead there, Nikki.
Savannah Wheeler was wheeling and dealing, and Gregory was also hot. These two players combined for 46 points and was just deadly from the three-point line.
The threes, folks.
knocking them down. Wheeler can hit it from everywhere, and then with 3.2 seconds to go, down to a heave from Louisville. But Marissa Russell's shot doesn't fall. Middle Tennessee hangs on to win it, and the comeback that we saw in this one was so impressive as well. Middle Tennessee trailed by as many as 18 points. They came back to win it. And also, you also saw in the Louisville, that is the Louisville game, you also saw the comeback in that Iowa State game. They were down 20. It's first tournament all time with multiple 18-point comebacks. So you can't ever count a team out. Well, this is especially what we saw from Rice, because LSU defending national champs. But the Rice Owls came to play.
Look, I say this day is personal, at least this time of night, because Rice Owls, I have 2 of them in my family. They're never an easy out. But Flau'jae, she just has that electricity when the ball's in her hands. I mean, watch this. Look at this pass. Bam. Sharing the ball. Angel Reese, not a huge game, but still was a factor on the boards, and that's the pass I'm talking about, threading the needle.
Tigers go on to win it 70-60. Lots of turnovers. Kim Mulkey wants that cleaned up. They would get the winner. Here's another game, actually. They are going to already know they play Middle Tennessee. But we're going to take it to Kansas State and Portland, because this is elsewhere in Regional 2 in Albany. We saw Serena Sundell really get going. And then we saw Gabby Gregory absolutely fire this team up, Nikki.
She did a phenomenal job, and you mentioned Lee, but Gregory to me was the key to the victory. She, across the board, did everything that they needed, scoring 22 points. But let's give it up for Lee coming back with 21 and 9.
Kansas State wins it 78-65. The final. Go ahead. What's your name in the next round of that bracket? Who would they face? Well, it'd be the winner of Drake and Colorado. Colorado on a run in the first half, Janae.
Yeah, Aaronette Vonleh, I love her game, 18 and 10 on the night. But again, Colorado came in with a little bit of pressure. They had lost 6 of their last 8, so I feel like they were a little bit tight, especially with Drake shooting the ball extremely well. But then again, there was energy from Jalen Sherrod and company.
Jalen Sherrod had 16 points, 8 assists in this game as Colorado gets themselves back on top, and then drive inside, make sure to finish it off strong. 86-72, Colorado advances to the next round. So let's take a look elsewhere. And Regional 1 in Albany, well, you see South Carolina Gamecocks, one of the earlier days today. Number 1 overall seed takes care of business. It'll be a rematch between them and North Carolina, a meeting between these two teams that first faced off back on November 30th. South Carolina, of course, won that one because they're undefeated. Meanwhile, Cameron Brink might as well be undefeated in the paint. Easy turn to the bucket, 32-19. Portland, where we find the 12-seed Vanderbilt taking on 5-seed Baylor. Sarah Andrews with the made 3. And then Bella Fauntleroy.
Nice inside pass there by Baylor. This Baylor team has such a balanced attack. Not only are they able to score from the inside, but also from the outside. Little Babe Bug also getting in on the action.
Yes, and a deadly combination is also making threes, but being great at taking them away. They're one of the best in the country at that as well.
Baylor takes care of business. They win in advance 82-63. But who will they play in the next round? Well, it'd be the winner of this game. No Liz Kitley for Virginia Tech as they took on Marshall, but turned out to be no problem. Georgia Amore had a quiet game, but it didn't matter. Just Clara Stratt stepped up big.
Exactly. I think this is an emotional game for them because they're playing without one of their star players. And immediately from the jump, we saw the focus. Clara Stratt, 7 for 7 from the field. She did not miss a shot. She was smart with her selection. These are the productions that you'll need, especially without Kitley in the center.
Every player that played at least scored 1 basket or more, so that is definitely playing for your big senior that's out.
And you got to give big props to Clara Stratt. 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 blocks in that game. She stepped up big time, and now a tall task for them as they get set for a Sunday game against Baylor in the round of 32. Plenty to be excited about with what we're going to see in the second game. Well, let's talk about what we're going to see in the second half. Stanford up 32-19. And Nikki, if they want to continue that and not let Norfolk State get back in, what do they need to do early?
Well, continue to go inside. That's been the mismatch for Norfolk State. They don't have an answer for them. And again, the perimeter play, I would like to see Hannah jump because what you need is that third scorer. You know, as we talked about the Batman and Robin, who is going to be Batgirl for Stanford?
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you look at the Pac-12 Conference, championship, that's where they struggle trying to get that perimeter push, whether it's Lapolo or whether it's Jump. Jump can knock down a three, but we all know it's going to come down to the middle of the paint with Brink and Kiki.
They have been rolling so far in the first half, those two. We'll see if Norfolk State has any answer for them in the paint in the second half. 32-19. They can go to work in the paint when you also have to worry about what's happening on the outside. It's the Cardinals.
NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. Start of our second half, Kiki Iriafen, 15 points, 7 boards, 2 dimes, stuffing the stat sheet for Stanford. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott back in Maples. Game 2, half 2, as Stanford is off and running as the 2 seed against the 15 seed Norfolk State. All right, so 2 quarters in the book. Stanford's been challenged a little bit tonight. What do you think so far?
Yeah, I think the second quarter we saw some separation based off of the defense and the experience from Stanford. You got Cameron Brink and Kiki Iriafen, 2 of the best post players you'll find anywhere out there doing work. And as much energy and effort as Norfolk State is going to put into this game, and we'll still have it. Like, they're still going to come back. But it's just overpowering when you think about the size.
Check out today's game track brought to you by Invesco. QQQ, Stanford 45%, Norfolk State 29%. Almost a double-double already for Cam Brink. You projected ahead back in the first quarter. Perhaps the opportunity for a triple-double. We will see.
We will. Very often getting met. Williams, she'll go back to the line. Iriafen, the way she ended the first half and kind of getting started here in the third quarter, just wants the ball in her hands. I think she's really prepared. We talked about Brink having a triple-double, but, Iriafen's got that potential as well. 18 and 11, shooting 52% from the floor. And can easily block shots, get assists.
Kiki in her career, well, the improvement well documented. The former top 20 ESPN Hoop Girls prospect. Look at the difference from last year to this. Significant.
And it's time spent in the gym. When you see leaps and bounds in numbers from players and you just try to get to, what's the secret sauce? What do you do? It's not secret. You got to get in the gym and work hard.
Hard work and discipline, the difference. Nia Fields down low connects. 34-21, the lead at 13 for the 2 seed Stanford. Iriafen got back her miss, fell down, and standing out of bounds was Norfolk State. Goes back to the Cardinals. Now Williams had it, just picked up her first personal. And Denasia turns it over on the ensuing possession. It's really the big story earlier today. Middle Tennessee upsetting Louisville down at Baton Rouge. Cam Brink inside. Now officially with a double-double, 10 points, 10 boards.
You see your versatility at work there. Just catching the ball face up. Diamond Johnson trying to get a piece of it. And then Cameron Brink goes to work. Nice swoop move and a big step for the finish.
Off the knee of Iriafen and out of bounds. Feels like Cam Brink starts games with double-doubles.
It feels like it. I mean, she's so intimidating out there, and it's just even the help side defense, right? It's not even about shots or rebounds, any of that. It's her presence out there and how she helps the floor.
Johnson left side, trying to sneak it around Brink. This time couldn't do it. She did it a couple of times in the first half. Lead at 15, jump, make it empty. Took a shot from Fields as well. 3-pointers good. It was a late whistle, but the right call by this veteran officiating crew.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen anybody make a 3 and get poked in the eye at the same time. That's a first. How good of a 3-point shooter is Hannah John? Let me tell you, not only can she shoot it, she can get poked in the eye. You take one away, she's still going to knock it down. So see here at the end of the play, she's catching a graze to the face from Fields.
Well, 4 potentially the hard way, the only way for Hannah Jump, who has 3 threes so far tonight. 36% from downtown this season. 4-time Pac-12 champion, and now Wheeler in some pain, grabbing her mouth under the basket. And now both teams directed to go to their respective benches. And Wheeler still in some sort of pain. Gives us a moment to step aside. Stanford, in the meantime, has built its largest lead at 19. It's a 19-point lead for number 2 seed Stanford over Norfolk State, the 15 seed. And after a review of that last sequence, Cam Brink checking on Phoebe Wheeler, it was determined, Brooke, that no additional foul was warranted.
Yeah, incidental contact. And you actually see Wheeler's left arm extending, pushing Brink away. But there were, as you see Brink going up, see her right arm there, just incidental contact. I think part of her shoulder, her arm caught Wheeler's face on the way up. And good sportsmanship by Brink to just check in with her. But, gotta say, coming out of that timeout, she looked a little dazed.
Richard Waters, one of the officials on this crew, came over to speak with us about it. He said it was an unobserved foul to begin with. The wind checked it, added nothing, and you mentioned the incidental contact. That was it. Everybody appears to be okay. Wheeler attacking after the brief break. Up and in with a bounce, so 22 in green and gold gets it done.
Great response. It's the toughness of this team, and Wheeler's fighting hard to try and get in front of Erie often.
You can see that it looks like she has something to prove after what just transpired in that review. Brink defended by Johnson, and Cam Brink up and in. Well, you'll see that every day.
And look at Erie Often and Cameron Brink are just giggling the whole way down to the floor. I mean, talk about playing with some joy. And Brink said, yeah, I got that outside shot. She told us she gets the opportunity to take a three. Coach Vanderveer may not want her to take it, but she said, you know what? I'm going to take it.
Wheeler's going to take the long two and drain it.
A great job by Wheeler to score twice after taking a shot to the face. Boy, you need something to wake you up. She said, okay.
Erie Oppen against Wheeler on the other end, the block. Norfolk State comes away with it. Here's Diamond Johnson.
Diamond is always in the middle with all the bigs, isn't she? Just ready to go inch for inch.
Heart over height for 3 in green. Crossover against Lopolo. Diamond Johnson to the free throw line to shoot 2. The 4th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game. So the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to NCAA.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Mentioned it briefly earlier. What really caught your attention today? Is it simply Middle Tennessee and the comeback against Louisville?
That was pretty epic. The way that they were able to just believe and continue to fight back. But, I am going to sound biased. Right here in front of us. How in the world did Iowa State? Maryland shot the lights out of the ball. What was it, 33-point first quarter maybe? Just couldn't miss from 3. And then it was just a change and a turn of tides. And for Audie Crooks, the freshman, to come through with a 40-piece in her NCAA debut, we saw a great tweet out there in one of the commercial breaks. Someone said, Audie Crooks is the next best player to come out of Iowa.
Boy, doesn't sound like a stretch. And you see today in the dance, 2 of the top 4 largest comebacks in NCAA tournament history. The game we referenced, Middle Tennessee down in Baton Rouge against Louisville, and then Iowa State right here in Maples about 2 hours ago, trailing by 20 in the first half against Maryland. Again, you don't want to say that it looked easy, but it happened suddenly. It was a 20-point deficit near the end of the second quarter. By the time we started the fourth quarter, we were tied, and it felt like ISU had really stolen all the momentum in the game and ended up winning by 7.
Yeah. They just stayed calm. And Coach Finley said at halftime, look, if this is how you want to go out, this is going to be it. And they woke up. And sometimes it takes for a young player just to get used to the mode, the speed, the lights, the attention. But incredible job by the Cyclones to just really regroup and then finish out that game.
Norfolk State has battled back here after Wheeler was hit in the face, incidentally, foul intent. She has become a new player. Here's a steal by Johnson. Wheeler wants it. Off glass. Give her 6 since that moment. Right in front of Dimitri.
It's a powerful play for the MEAC Player of the Year, the 6'1 junior from Minnesota. Her last 3 games, she has been the go-to player for this team. 48 field goals, making 26 of them. So she's been the dominant factor. When the ball gets in there, she's going to shoot it. Busts right through Stanford's defense, taking Dimitri to the rack.
Wheeler shoots over 51% from the floor. The transfer from Daytona State, player of the year in the conference, two-time All-MEAC defensive team performer as well. Lozgano was fouled trying to execute a simple cut across the charity stripe. Larry Vickers being instructed to go back closer to where he's supposed to be.
He's a little bit closer to Stanford. He does look to be about 6'6", 6'7", so it doesn't take too many steps for him to reach the other side.
Third foul called on Clark. Stanford maintains possession. Lozgano for three, and that one's good. Nice response for 20 and White. Lead back to 16. Spartans without a three-point make so far. Clark outside to Robinson, and Sky Robinson, her first bucket.
The VCU transfer, one of many this squad. So, if they can just continue to get a few more stops, I mean, their defense looking pretty aggressive here these last few minutes. If they can double the post and then try to get that next pass.
Dimitri, the quick turnaround in the bucket.
Too many scores for Stanford. Brooke Dimitri being one of them today. She and Hannah jump. You're starting to see Stanford is more than just the inside game.
Robinson to Johnson. And Johnson up and in. Baseline jumper was there.
She's going to get you with that hezzy. I mean, you got to believe, she sells you into believing she's going to cross the ball over.
And jump for three.
Boy, how online does her shot look right now?
Jump with 13. 4 triples so far. That's a good sign for Stanford fans to start the dance with that kind of efficiency. It's in to shoot. Wheeler against Iriafen. Working hard inside. It's back her own miss. And Dimitri clears for Stanford and was quickly fouled. It's the first on Robinson. Stanford basketball when we come back in the Cardinal. A 17-point lead. 17-point lead for the 2-seed Stanford over the 15-seed Norfolk State. Back in Maples Pavilion, it's time now for Get More, brought to you by Geico. Tara Vanderveer, well, the best all time, according to most major metrics. 15 Final Fours, 3 national championships. But the number at the bottom, don't bury the lead. 1,214 wins. It's the most in D1 history, setting the record earlier in the regular season, surpassing Mike Krzyzewski. And, of course, in front of Gino Auriemma, the head coach at UConn, who has 11 national titles on his resume, 3. Take a look for Tara Vanderveer and the coaches with multiple national titles.
Boy, just greatness and what an environment and time to be a women's basketball fan. Tara Vanderveer, who's just spent her life, her career giving back to this game, making it better for players all over, getting players to the league, talking about Hall of Famers. And I love how she takes herself a break. She gets away from basketball in the summer, getting back to Minnesota. She's swimming, she's playing the piano. I mean, she is a Renaissance woman.
She's swimming with the superstars and hanging out with some of the most famous and coolest people on the planet Earth. But that's a great point. She does recharge. And when you talk to those that are closest to her, that is a key component to her longevity. And we asked her the question yesterday, how do you stay so young? How do you stay, honestly, without trying to sound cheesy, so cool? And it goes back to simply being able to recharge the batteries and making sure that when the season arrives, she's ready to go, and that's what she's done, and it works out quite well. I mean, it was almost a fanboy question when I asked her that, Coach, I'm sorry.
Roy coming through with the fanboy. I love it.
I just want to know.
I get it. Look, we just want to soak up every minute that you can. Being here, listening to Tara Vanderveer speak. You're in the presence of a legend.
Poked away by Robinson. Under 3 to go in the third. And in terms of teams that have the best opportunity to win a national championship this year, Stanford's on the list. South Carolina, of course, I think the heavy favorite right now, Dawn Staley's team, and you saw her on that list with 2 national championships, still undefeated, off an impressive win already in the first round against Presbyterian. And we'll see how it unfolds, but Cardinal, they've done it before. They did it a couple of years ago. And they'll force a turnover here. Cam Brink, the applause.
And that's literally just her standing over there, being an intimidating presence, forcing the unforced turnover.
We mentioned last year, too, she started the tournament with the flu, missed the first game, played against Ole Miss, and honestly played pretty well. But there was a lot lingering over the program, and her at the time, the decision to come back and what was going to happen. It just feels like she's in a much clearer space mentally with all of those things, and obviously not battling the flu. That's a difference maker.
That helps. Well, also, she mentioned, with Caitlin Clark making her decision early, I think it flattens the room. There's no more questions. Your teammates are sitting there wondering, even if they know, nobody else does. You just want to get it all out there in the open. So now you can just concentrate. And Dawn Staley talks a lot about keeping the main thing. For Stanford, it's this tournament, this game.
Shot clock at 2. Johnson against Breaks. Put down on your Sports Center top 10. Osgana rejected on the other end. It'll stay with the Cardinal. How on earth did she create the real estate and make that shot on the baseline almost behind the backboard?
Look, a ball fake, leaning out of bounds, swish. Even Cameron Brink kind of held her hands up like, well, that's about the best defense that I could play.
That's against the leading shot blocker on the planet, giving up almost a full foot in size.
Now, you talk about heart over height. That is a manifestation of it right there. Let's watch this play again. Yeah. Top 10, we need a little love here.
It's poetry in motion.
Oh, step back, Hezzy, falling out of bounds, fade away over a player almost a foot taller than you.
Foul was called on Mullins. 2 free throws for Cameron Brink, who had an incredible streak earlier this year. What was it, 73 in a row at the line. So she's improved the overall jump shot, ability to nail down free throws, 85% on the year. Of course, the announcer jinx in full effect there.
There you go.
There are 90 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Brink comes up with a steal. Currently projected as the number 2 pick in the upcoming WNBA draft, just behind Caitlin Clark. There's big names on that list.
Yeah, LA with the second pick. I mean, how nice is this for Indiana? If they want to take Caitlin, LA to get Cameron Brink, it's like, yeah, it's meant to be.
Checks out. In WNBA draft coming up April 15th. Not too long to wait. Wheeler, another long 2. She's only attempted 3 3-point shots this year. She's drained 2. That's a couple of shots. Just a step in front of the arc. 12 points tonight.
Came up big in the MEAC championship against Howard. 7 offensive rebounds, a 20 and 15 game total. She's for real coming into here today. And how much energy did the Spartans have? I don't know if they got enough to battle Osgana. I don't know if they got enough to battle Hannah Jump. Kiki Arioff and Cameron Brink. It's a lot of weapons for this Cardinal team.
Shot clock is off. Should be the final possession of the third quarter. One in which Stanford has increased its lead by 8. Diamond Johnson, the crossover. And the baseline jumper, no. Osgana has it. And right at the buzzer is wide left for number 20. Elena Osgana on fire. Stanford seizing control in the third quarter. And number 20 in white getting it done, Brooke.
Shooting 46% from 3. Ball movement, unselfish play. And the Cardinals.
Back at Maples, the lead at 21 for the 2-seed Stanford Cardinal. The tree in the house doing his thing as we take a look at the updated bracket. The winner of this one gets Iowa State on Sunday. After the incredible comeback, the second largest comeback in the history of March Madness. Game against Maryland as we take a look at our star stories tonight, presented by Honda. Kiki and Cameron getting it done.
Well, these two, we knew coming into this game their numbers, but watching them play together, their chemistry, how much fun they have, and just how much they affect the guard play. Usually your team is dictated by the way the guards play the game, but to me it feels like Stanford, they're inside and they're bigs. Cameron Brink almost like a point center out there as much as she talks.
A point center. Emmett Johnson comes up short. With Weisbro, Roy Philpott, starting the fourth quarter.
LA knows a little bit about a point center, don't they?
Who was that?
Point center, LA?
Yes.
Yeah, a little familiar.
I think so. Yeah, that makes sense. Second personal on Wheeler. You hear a lot about the point forward. You just don't hear the point center all that often.
Well, she's got definitely the vocal skills to get it done. And I think as she extends her range, even more, as she gets in the league, her ball handling skills, she can fit into that role.
Sparks without a three-pointer. The runner off the mark by Fields. And a foul call, 2 free throws coming. Norfolk State not going down without a fight tonight. They have been competitive since the jump. It's a 3-point game after the first quarter. It was a 13-point contest at halftime. And the Spartans doing their very best, bringing this 15-game winning streak to Stanford, California. Williams at the line, a 66% free throw shooter. Denasia, the St. John's transfer. Remind you, for the 4th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to NCAA.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Mention the 4-pack of games tomorrow, and the Stars shining brightly on a Sunday. They got 2 games on ABC, 2 more on ESPN, and we're talking about Caitlin Clark, talented freshman Hannah Hidalgo, Paige Beckers, Rakia Jackson, we haven't mentioned her name tonight, and Juju Watkins, who is the 2nd leading scorer in America for USC, the Pac-12 tournament champions. Think about it, that USC team beat Stanford in the tournament title game. Got to be some kind of special to pull that off, and Juju Watkins is exactly that, as is the rest of her team.
Yeah, I think, USC's got a chance to go the distance, and actually, I think they could play the other SC in the national championship game. They've got that kind of power.
That would have people on the left coast and the east coast talking about who the best USC actually is.
Well, you know who it would really make happy? I saw an Instagram post the other day. Snoop Dogg was talking about he wants to see that happen. So, you got to do it for Snoop,
Well, if Snoop wants it, then we all want it. Osgana, no. And ripped away by Norfolk State. That was Williams again. Active in the 4th quarter and upset with herself for not corralling in that pass.
Not too many turnovers really for either team tonight, but just 7 for the Spartans. Might be their 8th, but what you do look at, to me, is the assists. Just 5 for Norfolk State, and then you look at the other side, Stanford coming through with 16.
Lead at 20. Trapping full court pressure being applied by Norfolk State. Brink has position against Wheeler. Outside of Osgana.
So Stanford can continue to go through this tournament and get some outside shooting. You see tonight, Osgana 4 of 5. If you can get some numbers from your guards, get those outside shots at 3, then you got the complementary defense on the inside. The inside scoring.
Brink said, make sure if you show that other Diamond Johnson highlight, that you show that one as well. And she got the dive to Osgana. But this block, it probably won't be on SportsCenter Top 10, but okay.
That's light work. That's light work, Cameron, now.
Good block.
Make sure she cleaned that last one up.
It's been a fun back and forth between Diamond Johnson and the Stanford Bigs at times tonight. Sky Robinson with a baseline jumper. Johnson got the rebound. Working hard on the offensive glass in 5-5. Well, Polo just picked up her 3rd. So Diamond Johnson tonight 17 points, 7 of 19 from the floor, 7 rebounds. One more free throw coming. The NCAA Men's Basketball Championship first round continues tomorrow on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For more information on tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com. Norfolk State in its 15-game winning streak. MEAC champions on the line tonight. Brink was stripped. And was she fouled? The answer is yes. Larry Vickers. You know, 2 games here tonight, it feels like they've been cleanly officiated. There's been some chippy moments, and that's rare that, you know, you and I both agree, but especially you.
Yeah, especially me. I'll give you that. No, I think it's been really well officiated, and it's been quick. Not only clean, but quick on the calls that, you know, need a little bit further review. It's kept the momentum of this game going, and I think the players, fans, all of us really appreciate that.
Picks up the personal. Brink was shoved in the back. There's 7 minutes remaining. Well, the first game was so fast, and the pace was just so crazy at times. Got physical, got a little chippy, but for the most part, it was really well officiated, which you always appreciate. You mentioned the quickness. It was crisp.
Crispy. Some of the three-point shooting, or the shots from both sides today. I mean, that was just a well-played game.
High-level hoops.
Yeah, very few mistakes. You know, execution, adjustments in game. The way Iowa State figured out, you know, Maryland switching 1 through 5 and then finding a way to score. Just, that was fun. Okay, Cameron Brink, get up.
Johnson off the mark and a foul called against Robinson. And Brink was bothered. Wheeler may have reached in from behind. And she did. So the third on Wheeler. 15 foul, free throws for Cameron Brink. And, I mean, it is obvious when you watch, you mentioned it earlier with Iriafen and Brink, a lot of smiling on the floor.
Yeah.
A lot of smiles off the court. It feels like there's some inside jokes being told, and everybody's in a good mood. Now, granted, they're winning, and so that certainly adds up. But just overall, there's a totally different vibe surrounding this team.
Yeah, I think when you're confident, when you're happy. I mean, I had a coach who coached men's college basketball for 40 years. My freshman year was his first year coaching women. His Brink hits another block. That's 6 now, 4 away from a triple-double, by the way. And he said, you know, the difference that I found in coaching men and coaching women, and maybe Larry Vickers can speak to this, is women will win when they're happy. Men are happy when they win.
I got to process that for like another quarter or so. But it sounds brilliant.
Well, I didn't say it. I wish I could take credit for it. But, you know, he makes a great point. And I think, you know, you win when you feel confident and happy and you're having fun playing joyful basketball. And Stanford's in alignment this year.
And alignment could equate to a national championship. The foul underneath. Goes against the Cardinal. Chloe Clardy picks up the foul. 2-time Gatorade Arkansas Player of the Year. A freshman out of Conway, Arkansas. MEAC champions, 15 in a row without a three-pointer made tonight. And Johnson comes up short on that effort. Breaking those 6 rejections, part of 8 blocks tonight for Stanford. And rim protection certainly front and center. Bill Finley gets set to try to figure out how to solve the Stanford puzzle potentially on Sunday nights. Head coach at Iowa State, Johnson, in transition, missed it. And ahead to Brink. We thought for a moment that she'd turn around and try to smash it in.
Come on, little two-step. Powers, dunk, come on. Her teammates were starting to feel it. She said, I hope I didn't mess up your assist. My bad. My bad, Chloe.
Diamond Johnson across the way appears to be cramping up. And so that'll be a pause in the action.
We're talking about leaving it all on the floor. You'll see Diamond Johnson just in pain right now as the training staff trying to work on that right leg. Probably both legs at this point.
She is not back down. She has stood her ground. 5 feet, 5 inches tall, 19 points tonight. 7 boards, 2 dimes. The MEAC newcomer of the year. Leading scorer. And the MEAC tournament most outstanding player. Between her and Wheeler, and right there at the top of the league. And accounting for that 15-game winning streak coming into the night.
And one of the hardest things to do while you're trying to get a cramp worked out is relax. Right? That's the only thing you got to do in order for it to work. But it's so difficult, so challenging. You can see the training staff just trying to keep her legs straight and stretch the back of that calf area, which tightens up. You know, not only just because of dehydration and playing and sweating, but the anxiety of playing in a big game too, that will get to you. But Diamond Johnson, as tough as they come, you know, certainly this isn't nerves. This is just her leaving everything she has.
65-42, 5.5 to go in the fourth quarter. And we mentioned it just moments ago as Diamond Johnson has helped up. That's a good sign. Iowa State awaiting the winner of this game. Cyclones, the 7 seed, came back from 20 points down, rallied to defeat the 10 seed Maryland, the first meeting between those two programs ever. The Cyclones back here at Maples Pavilion Sunday night. Time and network yet to be determined. And a nice round of applause and a show of appreciation of this partisan crowd for Diamond Johnson. Iowa State, Stanford. I mean, still a little early to say it, but looks like it's headed that direction.
Yeah.
An early thought or two.
I'd say you can start turning the lights on, not too early. You know, maybe dim them up a little bit. But what I'm thinking is, boy, the attention, the double team that Audie Crooks is about to face with Iriamphen and Cameron Brink. Well, oh, what a matchup inside. Now, I'm curious to see, can they get that post-entry pass from the top of the key like they were able to get consistently from Maryland? I don't see that happening. So they're going to have to figure out another way to get Audie Crooks the basketball.
So that's the charge for Bill Finley. We got to find a way to create a path for that entry pass because lobbing it up over the defense is not going to work against 6'4" Cameron Brink and 6'3" Kiki Iriamphen. Chance for 3. Courtney Ogden. And the Cardinal in an outstanding position at this point with a 25-point lead.
Courtney Ogden turning on the gas. The Jets here in the open floor. Off the strip. Getting their hands out there and Ogden. So, yeah, I'll just go ahead and take this myself.
And if you missed the first game, Crooks dropped a 40-piece. Crooks attempted 20 shots and she missed 2. It'll be a different deal against the nation's leading shot blocker, but if you're wondering what we're going to be talking about when we open our show Sunday, I think we just told you.
Guessed it.
I mean, it'll be a fun and fascinating matchup down low with Crooks and Brink, and to see who can out-physical who. Mid-range is there for Dimitri. Stanford with its largest advantage at 27.
Right, I mean, you have two totally different styles of game, too, with Crooks and Brink. You know, Crooks she's going to get that position. She's going to hold it, and as long as you get her the basketball, she's still got some footwork to finish. And Brink just loves to move without the basketball. Do whatever she can.
Stanford in search of its 3rd national championship. Can they pull it off? NCAA Women's Championship, presented by Capital One, is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? So take a look at our Capital One rewarding performance tonight. We mentioned the bigs down low. Cameron Brink has had herself quite an evening. Another double-double. 4 blocks away. Potential triple-double. 17, 15, and 6 for the first team. All-American performer once again here for the Cardinal.
And the next highest rebounder on the squad, Kiki Iriafen with 8 boards. She will face likely Audi Crooks and the Iowa State Cyclones here in Game 2 on Sunday. It'll be a fantastic matchup. 2 different styles of play in the post, but both terrific. 18-20.
18-20. Making her NCAA tournament debut. Took about a half for things to settle down. She was quite effective in that second quarter, but Iowa State trailed big. Ended up with the second largest comeback in NCAA tournament history. Now for Stanford Tara Vanderveer in search of national championship number 4. And off to a good start against Norfolk State tonight. With Iowa State waiting. Top of the key for Clark, and Norfolk State still without a 3-point make tonight. Now 0 of 8. Nia Harriel on the floor again. Second time we've seen 32 in white tonight. Fields off the steal. Approaching 3 to play. There's the first 3 ball of the game. Anjanae Richardson. Now Larry Vickers, he had an extended conversation with him yesterday, head coach at Norfolk State. As we took in the Spartans practice. He said this game's going to feel different. It's going to be different for us. We've been the favorite all year long. Ogden, a triple. And he said it in an interesting way. He said, we're playing with house money. We got here. We made it here. We found a way, the 15-game winning streak. And it wasn't that they didn't come here with a chance to win. They did, in the sense that it's the first time they've been an underdog in probably 3 months. And he was curious, how are we going to respond? They responded quite well in that first half. This was a game to the midway stages of the third quarter. 3-point deficit after the first, 13 at halftime. Diamond Johnson with an array of circus shots under duress. Got 13 minutes.
Yeah, and you can see why she has been the reason. She and Wheeler have carried this team to their win streak, to the second straight trip to the NCAA tournament. I mean, Diamond Johnson has put on a display here, getting ready to check back in the game after having a lead for Krantz. She's still over at the scores table trying to stretch out those calves.
How hard is that to do, by the way?
I can't even tell you. I mean, I don't even know to play a game like that. Just in life. Think about when you wake up in the middle of the night and your feet get cramped. It takes you a half an hour before you can even get relaxed and go back to bed, let alone get in and play a basketball game.
Very often with a nice round of applause as she checks out. Diamond Johnson back on the floor. Her night and Cameron Brink's night officially done. And a business-like effort in this win against Norfolk State. It's gone at the stripe. One more coming. Helena. A wire-to-wire win for the 2-seed Stanford. Cardinal, remember what happened in round 2 a year ago. It's a pretty Ole Miss team. You mentioned the physicality that Coach Yo employed with her squad a year ago as they advanced into the Sweet 16 and upset Stanford here. And you watch the game, it didn't feel like an upset. That'll be on the mind of players that are back from that squad. And Vanderveer told us it left a very bad taste in our mouth. We remember it vividly. Johnson missed the 3. Cameron Brink told us the same thing. And, well, you know, as her career comes to a close, she wants to play another weekend or 2 or 3, if possible.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be fresh on her mind. Sunday afternoon, or for Sunday for her to be able to come in here and lead her team with the all-time winningest coach, Tara Vanderveer, into the Sweet 16. Incredible opportunity for the Cardinals to get their 4th national championship.
That puts Vanderveer with those 3. Luna Adara on the floor for the first time. The Cardinal. Mid-range jumper is there for Clarney. He figures she's going to have a much larger role with this team next season.
I love her defense, her energy off the bench too, showing a little range. What she's brought, Ogden off the bench. Good options for Stanford as Wheeler keeps fighting.
Chance for 3. Mimi Wheeler. 78-47. Now after Stanford, you're trying to get back, get some rest, gear back up after a brief couple of hours off. And they get ready for Iowa State and the problems that Holly Crooks presents. And then one thing that we didn't mention until very late in that first contest was the play of point guard Emily Ryan. By the end of the night, had 14 assists. And her veteran leadership, now that that foot is healthy, forcing her to miss 9 games to start the season. Think about what she brings to the table, and Addie Brown, the Fab Five, that freshman class that has been the heart and soul for Iowa State head coach Bill Finley. There's some matchups that are going to be fun to watch to see who can actually claim that early advantage. Far Vanderveer knows competition only gets better from here on out. Ivan Johnson, the step back. Wheeler. She'll close this game in strong fashion. 17 points and 7 rebounds. And with the shot clock off, that'll just about do it. (79-50), our final score from Maples Pavilion. And for the Stanford Cardinal, continue a strong streak of first-round victories as the 2 seed goes wire to wire in the victory against Norfolk State.
Now Cameron Brink, being the All-American that she is, 17 points, 15 boards, a couple of assists, but how about the leading scorer today? Buzz Ghana from Stanford, 18 points, 4 of 6 from behind the line.
24 straight in that first round for the Stanford Cardinal. Larry Vickers, his 15-game winning streak comes to a close. And the MEAC tournament champions head home after a sensational season that saw them claim 27 wins and just 6 losses. Now the bracket is set. Iowa State, the 7 seed. Stanford, the 2. Audie Crook, Cameron Brink. Worth the price of admission, just those 2. Kiki Iriafen says hello. Emily Ryan, Addie Brown. And we got stars everywhere headed your way on Sunday back at Maples.
This is just going to be a fantastic matchup. You got youth, experience, star power, All-American. Well, Cameron Brink, the Stanford Cardinal, going to be coming in looking for that Sweet 16 trip.
79-50, our final score. For Brooke Weisbrod, I'm Roy Philpott. The Stanford Cardinal get the job done. As we say good night from Maples Pavilion. See you back here Sunday for Iowa State and Stanford.